What better time to talk about Die Hard the movie than at this time of year? I understand it's debatable whether it's a Christmas movie or not. I first saw it on Christmas break, so to me it's Christmas time. It says Christmas. However, I have heard Bruce Willis say it's not a Christmas movie, it's a Bruce Willis movie. So let's talk about Die Hard. I thought it would be fun to imagine if Die Hard were a dream, could you interpret it? What if John McClane falls asleep on the airplane and then he wakes up and he's there? What if it's all a dream? Would the interpretation of the dream match what we know about John McClane, the character? And could that explain the Christmas theme? So we're going to geek out a little bit about Die Hard. I hope you're a fan of the movie as much as I am, because this is a fun way to have fun with a movie and have fun with dream interpretation. So it's just fun. Hi, I'm Karen, and I dream a lot, and I like to study and talk about dreams and dream interpretations and do dream interpretations for people. If you have any thoughts about Die Hard the movie, go ahead and put them down below. And especially once you hear the interpretation, I'm very curious what you think about this interpretation of John McClane's dream, Die Hard the movie. When you have a dream, the things in the dream have certain symbols based on who you are and things in your life and what words you would use to describe them and that kind of thing. But since we don't have John McClane to talk to and ask him what does a skyscraper mean to him, I'm going to use dreammoods.com, which is a dream dictionary online that I really like, and I put a link to it in the description down below, and we'll look at the meanings of different objects in the movie, in the dream, and use those to interpret John McClane's dream. So we know that he's a policeman from New York City. He's coming out to LA to see his wife Holly, who they have been apart for a while, and it seems that they may be separated, and the future of the relationship is up for changing or discussion or something, but they've not been together for a while, and he's coming out to see her. So with that we know about John, let's look at what would happen if this were all a dream. So the first symbol is the skyscraper, Nakatomi Tower. Skyscraper represents high ideals, aiming high at what you're trying to achieve, at what you're trying to do. Now, John McClane is a very good policeman. He presents himself as an everyman, and that's how he seems in the movie, but he's obviously a really good policeman, and so that, to me, is true. Skyscraper representing his high ideals as a policeman. That's coming into the dream. Another character in his dream, besides himself, is a thief. Hans Gruber, in the end, we find out, is a thief. So he's there trying to steal something. When you dream of a thief, it represents there's a feeling that someone is trying to take something away from you. Someone's trying to rob you in your waking life. That's what dreaming about a thief means. Maybe they're stealing your energy or your ideas, not so much stealing actual things from you, but they're taking something away from you. You're feeling like you're being robbed of something in real life. In a way, John feels like it's a waste of time for him to go to LA. He's not really wanting to do it. It's like he's being robbed of his time. And going out to LA where his wife is might make him feel robbed. I also want to point out here that when you have a dream and there are people in the dream, those people are aspects of you and they represent things. You're not really dreaming about a real life Hans Gruber or a real life thief. The thief is a stand-in for something, for a feeling or an energy or something that's happening in real life. So John is feeling like he's wasting his time, something's being taken away from him, his energy and his time, because he's having to come out here to LA. He dreams about his wife, and when you dream about a wife, that can represent unresolved issues. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean, like if you dream about a wife and you don't even have one, that still represents unresolved issues. In this case, it represents the unresolved issues that John and Holly have between them. She's out in LA, she's working under her maiden name, so there's definitely things that are unresolved between them. And so dreaming about your wife represents unresolved issues. When you have villains in a dream, villains represent the aspects of yourself that you are ashamed of or that you're not very proud of. There's quite a lot of villains in this dream. So there's a number of things that John may not be proud of about himself or that he's ashamed of. And actually, he does admit this to Al, the policeman, in the bathroom scene. He does confess to him that he has behaved in a way that he's not very proud of, that he's kind of ashamed of. And he is realizing how that has affected his relationship with his wife. So a lot of times dreams help us see things we're doing in real life that we don't really realize we're doing. And if you look at this as a dream instead of something that really happened to him, you start to see that, oh yeah, he is realizing some things about his waking life. Guns in a dream represent aggression or anger, a potential danger. And there's quite a lot of guns in the dream here. So lots of aggression, lots of danger. You dream of being shot at, which also happens a lot in the dream, is a representation of confrontation in a waking situation, that the dreamer is experiencing some confrontation or is worried about confrontation. The dreamer is probably feeling victimized or like they're being targeted in real life. Again, assuming everything is a dream and we just look at John and Holly, because that's the only two things that we know are real in this little exercise that we're doing, John might feel anger towards Holly's company, the Nakatomi Corporation. He's on his way to see her in LA and he's probably worried about a confrontation with her. I mean, really, if you've been separated from your spouse and they're like, come on out, let's have the holidays together for the kids' sake, and you're got a temper, you're probably expecting there's going to be a confrontation. So he's walking into a situation where there's probably going to be some anger and aggression and some even maybe feeling that there's some danger or that he's the victim here, because that's very possible that he might feel that way about this relationship with his wife because of all the issues around it. So if you're liking this so far, you think it's fun, go ahead and click the like button so more people can find out. I'm just very curious what everybody might think about if Die Hard were a dream. Thank you. So a key piece of the dream is that he's trying to contact the police. He's having trouble contacting the police. And that's actually a thing in dream moods, which I thought was cool. And it represents you need to, or that you're not acknowledging your own authority in a situation in your waking life. And John has really not recognized his own authority in the situation with Holly. He admits he's been unsupportive. He's been pretty passive. He calls himself a bum in relation to her. So he is really not acknowledging his own agency, his own authority in this situation with his wife. There are hostages in the dream, and when there are hostages in your dream, that represents feeling or being powerless and having limited choices. Again, we see John is feeling powerless in his relationship with Holly and like he has very few choices. He can't have what he wants. He wants to stay in New York and she wants to be out there. So he's feeling pretty powerless in everything. And that also goes back to having trouble contacting the police, not having authority, not realizing that he has a say in what's happening if he communicates. So a big part of the dream is that they are trying to crack the safe. They're trying to break into the safe. And dreaming about a safe represents a couple of things. It can represent hiding your sense of self-worth, that the dreamer is hiding their sense of self-worth. It could also represent feeling safe. So sometimes, dreams have puns in them a lot of times. So if you were to dream about a safe, it could be telling you that you don't feel safe or that you can feel safe. It kind of depends on what's happening in the dream. So here's a safe. Does John feel safe? So John's sense of self-worth is under attack in real life. His energy is being stolen by negative aspects of himself in the way he's reacting to the situation. He really can't feel safe until he resolves the issues with his wife, with Holly. Another core scene in the dream is when he has to walk on broken glass, and it's a pretty pivotal scene in the movie. So it would be a pretty intense scene in a dream, too. There's a meaning for walking on broken glass. Suddenly now I'm thinking of that song, Walking on Broken Glass. So walking on broken glass represents passivity. John has been a pretty passive participant in his relationship. He's just stayed in New York. Holly's gone and done her thing. She's got the career. She's taken the kids with her. And it seems as if he's been pretty passive in everything and not really spoken up, except maybe to complain a little bit. But he's been pretty passive. So walking on broken glass has represented his passivity. Throughout the dream, there's a lot of explosives that are, people are setting explosives everywhere because eventually they want to blow up the building. And explosives represent an explosive situation, represents repressed anger and rage coming to the surface of a situation or coming to the surface of the dreamer. It can also represent the subconscious trying to get the dreamer's attention if there's an actual explosion in the dream. It can be like, hey, I'm trying to get your attention, pay attention to the message. So again, I think John does have repressed anger and rage towards the situation with his wife towards where he's at with him in New York and her in LA, and there being some disconnect and conflict between what their goals and dreams are for themselves. And this repressed anger is in danger of exploding, and his subconscious is wanting him to know about it. Again, I'm coming back to the theory that your dreams are your subconscious trying to get your attention, trying to give you a message, trying to tell you what's important to you, what you feel, what you're worried about. And so in this case, we can see that everything seems to be about John's feelings and his worries and concerns around his relationship with his wife. I think that's kind of cool. Now, we also have terrorists in the dream. They present themselves, they act as if they're terrorists, the thieves that are, Hans Gruber and his whole crew. He is acting as if he's a terrorist so that they get the FBI to do certain things so they can get into the safe. Dreaming of terrorists means that the dreamer is feeling frustrated and resentful and disempowered. Again, all things that John is probably feeling about his marriage. And I mentioned at the beginning, this movie is not a Christmas movie, or maybe it is a Christmas movie, but this is one of the things that explains this next thing, the symbol of Christmas, might show you how this movie makes sense and why this movie has Christmas in it, especially given all the things we just talked about with all the other symbols. Christmas in a dream, dreaming about Christmas, represents family traditions and family togetherness. It also represents new beginnings and fresh starts. So in the dream, John's subconscious is reassuring him that despite all of his feelings, all his behaviors, his passivity, his frustration, his rage, that it's still possible for him to have family togetherness. He can have hope in that, and that there's a fresh start with Holly. I really like that. That really clinches this as a dream. In the end, John's dream is all about his relationship with his wife, Holly, and his feelings about it. It's about the changes that he's facing. He's got lots of feelings. He's feeling disempowered. He's feeling unexpressed anger. He's feeling some resentment, feeling unsafe. He's feeling frustrated, like he's being robbed of something, not just of his time by coming out to see her, but maybe being robbed of his wife even, right? Because she's not with him, even feeling ashamed. John is very confident in his abilities as a cop and his high ideals as a policeman, but he's being very passive and reactionary in his interactions with Holly. And he's not acknowledging his own contributions to the situation in their relationship. He's ashamed of negative aspects within himself that have contributed to this situation. And deep down, he does believe there's hope for family togetherness and new beginnings. Let me know what you thought about this dream interpretation in the comments below. I think it's kind of fun to look at it this way. It makes me appreciate the movie even more, which is such a good movie. I love Die Hard, and I do watch it every year at this time, regardless of whether it's a Christmas movie or not. It's just a fun movie. If you'd like to see another dream interpretation from a movie, go ahead and click the next video, which is a dream interpretation of the dream in Princess Bride, Buttercup's nightmare in Princess Bride. You can follow me over on Instagram at Caryndreams. Please click like, click subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.